said, this one didn't happen too long ago, and it introduces a new character, which is my girlfriend, and I'm not going to give her a fake name like everybody else tends to have. And this was about probably a month or two ago now. Me and my girl, we were hanging out. She came over to my house. She typically comes over later in the evening because we both get off late, and then, she stays another day. But she pulls up to my house this night. She pops out, and the first thing she says is, "My car is fucked." Took fucked with a little grain of salt because you know how cars be. One little fucking bolt not in the right place could cause you have to rebuild your car from the ground up. I also know nothing about cars, so I couldn't really give any of my wisdom. However, she was complaining that the steering in her steering wheel was not doing it like it should, and those were her words, not mine. When I went to go turn the wheel, yeah, that bitch was real hard to turn, and she said the only reason why she was able to make it is because most of the route between me and her house is straight lines and very minimal curves. Turning that shit felt like literally a pirate ship. I guess I've never ridden a pirate ship or drove. Want to be drove? Anyways, I've never piloted a fucking pirate ship, but I would imagine it would be hard. Anyways, I tell her not to sweat it and we'll figure it out tomorrow because, it's already dark out and what can we do? And so after the next morning, I talked to my lovely mother a little bit, and she said, oh, it's probably the power steering, which, honestly, I actually knew that. I don't have a lot of ball knowledge. However, I should have had that much. And so the first thing we decided to do when we wake up that morning is, head down to the local AutoZone. And we were turning down to the local AutoZone. It's only about, I don't know, probably, I'd say, 10 minutes away. And, I had the pirate ship. I was driving again. And about halfway there, all of the lights went out. And I'm not talking about the headlights. I'm talking about the radio, all of the fancy little LEDs. I'm talking about the fucking speedometer, the RPMs, the whole 9 yards. And that shit just goes kaplooey about halfway there. And so now I really feel like I'm doing some medieval shit because now I can't even tell how fast I'm going and I don't know if the blinkers work. However, we make it. The car sputters a little bit in some spots as it would in a situation like this. We get to the AutoZone parking lot and then it dies. And it doesn't die in a convenient parking place. It dies in the entryway of the AutoZone. And luckily one of the boys in red were leaving, and I guess he was the delivery driver, but he was able to help me push her car in because it's not very big. So we get the car parked up in an actual spot and not in the middle of entry. And one of the dudes with far greater knowledge than I could probably ever wish to have on a car opened up the hood and noticed the problem immediately, and he said the serpentine belt was cooked. And I guess if I used more than 2 brain cells, I could have probably saw a belt should go there, and that it's obviously twisted up underneath everything else. Now, my girl's stepdad, he knows a few more things about cars than me, and so she got a hold of him, but he was pretty far away, so he wouldn't be there for another few hours. Luckily, my mom's a G, and she came and picked us up and took us home while we waited. However, I still have a vehicle, and my girlfriend was honestly stressing out pretty bad about her car being in such disrepair because, that was a little spooky. So I'm like, hey, let's go hit some thrift stores, hit some antiquing stores. 1, I know that's something she enjoys doing. 2, I also enjoy doing it. And 3, like, what else are we really gonna do? We don't have any other plans. And we're waiting for this guy to show up. Now let me try to paint a little picture in your head. I'm driving, I'm merging onto another lane. The merging lane was very short, so I would have to get into the new lane immediately. If you've ever driven on the highway or been in the car on a highway, you understand how those things work. And there was a gentleman behind me. He thought, I guess, I didn't merge quick enough or something. Honestly, to this day, I still really don't know what his deal was, but He sped around me. Mind you, this was a no passing lane. I used the highway analogy to paint a picture. I didn't say it was a highway. He sped around me in a no passing zone, and not only that, he proceeded to go 20 under, and the fucking speed limit was 45. So he was about going half the speed limit, and then he rolls down his back window, which I've never seen on a car. So admittedly, I think that's kind of cool. I see this bald head pointing at my car and then like pointing to the side of the road, and I'm like, what does he want? Why is he so angry? And like, I didn't ding his car or nothing like that. I saw him behind me, in fact, and I thought we were gonna merge together. However, obviously he didn't think that was gonna happen, and so he starts smacking his blinkers. Then he notices that I'm not also hitting my blinkers, so he continues. And so this trend persists about 2 or 3 more times. So I kind of realized it before, but that really solidified that he wanted hands, and and you know, I've trained in MMA, but I don't want to fight a bald old guy. They literally have 0 to lose. And so after his blinker game solidified that fact in my head, I waited until his cheeky ass decided to hit the blinker, but he was inviting me to go down a one-way road. And I was like, great. So I smacked my blinker, and then he turned off the one-way. I proceeded to unsmack my blinker and continue to drive. And at this point, going, you know, half the speed limit, there was a sizable line behind me, and I was able to evade the bald man's whatever he had, really. Thrifting and antiquing we did itself wasn't all that interesting. Saw some cool things, gave me some Christmas ideas for this Christmas, but overall that part of the day wasn't anything to write home about. So once we get back, we hang out for a little longer, and then her stepdad arrives. I know what you're probably thinking, oh, you know, he's a handyman, he can get shit done. I thought so. I was wrong. And so this dude comes on a motorcycle, which is fine. However, this motorcycle had no saddlebags. It had no leather pouches on the handlebars. He didn't have a backpack on. This guy came to fix a car with no fucking tools. And yeah, we're at AutoZone and they have borrow tools, but he came with no fucking tools. And I don't know. To me, that's just bananas. And so we like poked around a little bit. And yeah, sorry. We can get you a tow, maybe. And so he comes obviously equipped with all of the bullshit and an idea we already ourselves had, and then goes on his merry way. So anyways, we're not completely fucked in this situation, and I have an uncle who happens to be pretty good at working on vehicles. And he's also pretty good at talking, my girlfriend found out. Well, like, credit to him, he got us out of a bad spot, or my girlfriend out of a bad spot. But one, he didn't show up to the AutoZone parking lot until like 8:30, which is, you know, you can't complain too much. You know, he has a job, he's a busy man, so if that's the time you can find, that's the time we'll get. He fixes the problem with her vehicle in roughly an hour and a half, right? So you're like thinking, oh, so you guys get around like 9:30, right? 9:45 at the latest. Now, we stood in that AutoZone parking lot until 10:45, damn near 11 o'clock. And I shit you not, the AutoZone lights went off and we were standing in the pitch black. And my girlfriend chimed in because at this point he was just gabbing. Oh, looks like they turned off the lights, you know, trying to give a little bit of a hint, hint, nudge, nudge that we shouldn't be standing out here. And his words are, fuck 'em. And then he continues to talk. And one of the things, and I don't know if my girlfriend really noticed it, I hope not, she never mentioned anything to it about me. Wow, that wasn't correct, but I'll leave it in anyway. Anyways, he was telling me about this party he went to, and it was one of those, like, you know, pay at the door kind of parties, and it was Halloween themed. And he was telling me about all of the absolute sluts that were there, and he had receipts for this claim as he was showing me chicks in thongs, basically. Like, it didn't even give off slutty Halloween costume. It was more like, this is straight up lingerie, which I guess is some Halloween costumes, but hey, who am I to say? But yeah, right in front of my girlfriend. She was looking at her phone, so she was probably afflicted with severe brain rot at that very moment. However, yeah, I don't know. But that was really about it for that day. It was pretty chaotic. I wrote this script a while ago, and I never made a video about it. and it was just good inspiration to get back on and do something. If you watched this video and you enjoyed it, drop a like, because that's my obligation as a YouTuber to ask you to do that. And yeah, thanks for watching.